Now listen, I know we've talked about Martell and Mel before, but the latest update takes everything to another level. Apparently, Martell was a no-show in court again, y'all. Yes, again. And people are tired. Fans are frustrated. Even folks who used to defend him are saying enough is enough. Because this time, it's not just about drama. It's about his own kids and his pattern of not showing up, literally and emotionally. And the way things are being described, it's just sad. So here's the rundown. A court date was scheduled on October 15th, but Martell didn't appear. The excuse? He had to work. Now, you and I both know that's not sitting right with anyone. Folks online are saying, work where? Filming what? The show's on break. The excuses are stacking up, and it's starting to look like Martell is doing everything he can to drag this custody process out, just filing continuance after continuance, delay after delay. And at this point, even people in Madison County gotta be saying, how long can this go on? But before we even get to that court no-show, let's rewind to what's been happening these last few months, because the reports coming out from the summer are shocking. We're talking about multiple visits where Martell allegedly left the kids alone at night, sometimes until after midnight. Let that sink in. Melody's at home being a full-time mom, building her businesses, keeping everything steady, and meanwhile, Martell, when it's his turn to have the kids, is apparently out in the streets, off visiting whoever he wants, while Grandma Marlene has to pick up the slack. Now, no disrespect to Marlene, but y'all know she's not supposed to be playing full-time babysitter while her grown son runs the streets. Come on now. And here's where fans really started getting emotional. There are notes from July and August showing that the kids themselves started reaching out, saying they were afraid of their dad. Yes, Tank, the son, allegedly said he was scared. That's heartbreaking. And when your own child is asking not to go over for their scheduled time, that's a major red flag. That's not just tension from divorce, that's trauma. And it's sad that it's gotten to this point. Teachers, principals, counselors, they're all involved now, y'all. The schools are aware of what's happening, and that says a lot. Now, fans who've been following Melody since the beginning of Love and Marriage Huntsville know this has been a long road. Melody has fought through public humiliation, rebuilding her brand, raising 4 kids while filming a show, running 7th Avenue Beauty, and trying to maintain her peace. She's done the work. Meanwhile, Martell seems to be focused on keeping control, whether that's through dragging out this custody situation or popping up online to say he's the better parent. But the receipts aren't matching his words, because if he was truly focused on being a father, why are these reports showing neglect and anger issues? And y'all, let's not forget how many times we've heard this before. The anger issues, the outbursts, the yelling. Melody tried to work through it during their marriage, and it was a mess. We saw it play out on OWN. We saw the therapy scenes. We saw the apologies that never stuck. And now, years later, he's still acting out the same way. Just now it's directed at the kids. It's like the cycle never stopped. And you can't tell me that's fair to those babies. They deserve better. Now, what really got folks fired up was when the report said Martell left the kids alone multiple times while he went to visit someone. Now, we don't need to guess too hard who that someone might be. It's always a concubine or a new woman in the picture. Fans are already speculating that he's still entertaining Ariane Curry because every time Martell starts acting out, somehow she's suddenly back online, posting shady stuff or responding to drama. It's like clockwork. And people are tired of it. Everyone's saying, focus on your kids, Martell. You wanted to fight for them, now do the work. And speaking of work, it's crazy that work was the excuse for missing court. Because let's be honest, if Melody missed a single court date, they'd be dragging her name from here to Huntsville and back. But Martell, he gets a pass every time. It's starting to make people wonder if he's got someone on the inside protecting him. I mean, come on. Every other week there's a delay. Every other month there's a continuance. When is this judge going to say enough is enough? Even fans online are calling for the judge to recuse themselves because this is just getting ridiculous. Melody has done everything she's supposed to, she's been consistent, and she's clearly the more stable parent. So why are the courts still playing around? And let's be real, it's not just Melody who's exhausted. The kids are too. They've had to deal with the back and forth, the confusion, the tension every time they switch houses. You can tell Tank, Sugar Mama, and the rest of the kids love their father, but love isn't enough when there's chaos. Kids feel that. They internalize it. And if a son is saying, "I'm afraid," that should be a moment where any real parent steps back and says, "I need help." But Martell? He doubles down. He posts pictures smiling like everything's perfect while the court reports tell a completely different story. That's not fatherhood. That's image management. Now, I'm not gonna lie, some of y'all in the comments have been saying exactly what I'm thinking. Martell doesn't actually want custody. What he wants is control. Because if he can keep Melody tied up in court, keep her stressed, keep her distracted, then she can't fully focus on her peace and her growth. That's the game. And that's why some people say this whole thing isn't about the kids at all. It's about ego. It's about control. It's about the one thing Martell can't stand: Melody moving on and thriving without him. And let's not forget the irony here. This man had the nerve to fight for custody, saying he was the more stable parent, while the reports now show he can't even stick to basic responsibilities. If you can't show up for your kids' school meetings, if you can't handle home visits without drama, if you're still angry and yelling, what business do you have trying to take the kids from the mother who's holding it all down? And I'm sorry, but leaving kids alone until midnight is not it. There's no excuse. You can't call yourself a protector while leaving your kids in that position. And it's sad because Grandma Marlene probably feels stuck. She loves her grandbabies, but she shouldn't have to carry the weight of her grown son's mistakes. She's supposed to be enjoying her life, not being the default parent, because Martell can't handle his. Now, before I continue, because there's a lot more to unpack, make sure you keep watching till the end, because what happens after this part might shock you. There are more details about how the school got involved, what the counselors reported, and even what fans are now saying about how OWN should handle Martell going forward. You don't want to miss that part. So now let's pick up right where we left off, because this situation just gets messier the more you read into it. The August reports mentioned that the school principal, counselor, and even staff had to step in because of how serious things had gotten between Martell and his son Tank. Imagine how bad it has to be for school officials to document it. They saw that the kids were uncomfortable, and that tells you a lot. These are teachers who see hundreds of kids every week, and when they notice emotional distress, that means something's really going on. Melody has always said her main focus is protecting her baby's peace, and this just proves she's been right to fight as hard as she has. And what makes it worse is that Martell seems to think this kind of behavior makes him look strong. But no, it doesn't make you strong, it makes you look unstable. He's been out here talking about respect and fatherhood, but the actions are telling a different story. And this isn't some rumor made up by fans. These are documented events, dates, times, home visits, reports. That's real paperwork. That's real accountability. Or at least it should be. But for some reason, the system keeps giving him more time, more excuses, more space to keep doing the same thing. Now, y'all remember when Melody said in one of her interviews that she doesn't want to badmouth Martell in front of the kids? That right there shows growth, because she could easily go online and drag him for everything he's doing, but she chooses not to. She lets his actions speak for themselves. Meanwhile, he stays throwing shade at her, trying to prove something. And it's just sad, because deep down, I think Martell knows Melody won, not in a petty sense, but she won in peace. She's found her freedom, she's thriving, she's glowing, and he can't handle it. And this is why fans are saying it's not even about custody anymore. It's about control. Martell can't stand that he's lost control over the narrative. Melody's career is growing, her music is touching people, she's working with her mom, Vanessa, on business moves, and the kids are happy when they're with her. That's stability, that's love, and that's something money or TV fame can't fake. And every time Martell pulls one of these stunts, it just reminds people why Melody left in the first place. But y'all, what's really breaking people's hearts is Tank. That little boy has been through so much for his age. He's old enough to understand when something isn't right. You can tell he's protective of his mom, but he's also stuck in the middle of a situation he didn't ask for. When a son starts to fear his father, that's not discipline. That's dysfunction.
And if the reports about anger management are true, then Martell needs to take it seriously this time. Because this isn't about proving a point anymore. It's about healing what's already been broken. Now, let's talk about the pattern, because y'all know this ain't new. We've seen Martell skip responsibilities before. Remember when he missed key business meetings? When he couldn't finish the book project? When he had outbursts on set with the other cast members? Tisha, Marcel, Maurice, Kimmy, they've all tried to talk to him at one point or another. Even they could see how his pride and temper get in his own way. Martell might throw shade sometimes, but even he knows when to pull back. Martell doesn't. He keeps doubling down on the same behavior, expecting a different outcome. And now, fans are also bringing up how Martell's relationship with Ariane Curry always seems to pop up around the same time the custody talk heats up. Coincidence? I don't think so. It's like they feed off each other's attention. She starts posting hints, he starts acting out, and suddenly the blogs are filled with Martell and Ariane again. Meanwhile, Melody's over there minding her business, traveling, doing events, and focusing on her kids. That's the difference right there. She's building, he's burning bridges. And can we talk about how embarrassing this has to be for ON? Love and Marriage Huntsville started as a show about power couples building together. Now it's turned into Martell being dragged through reports about court cases and custody battles. You know Carlos King is somewhere watching this unfold like, Lord, what now? Because as entertaining as drama can be, there comes a point where it's no longer fun. It's just sad, especially when it involves children. Fans are also saying that this situation should be the wake-up call Martell needs, because right now, it's not looking good. Missing court, reports of neglect, anger management issues, strained relationships with his kids. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck, and people are worried. Not because they hate him, but because they remember the potential he once had. There was a time Martell was the polished businessman, the clean-cut family man, the one who had it all. But the ego, the pride, and the need for control have taken over everything. And you know what's crazy? People have been comparing how Tisha and Marsa, even with all their problems, still managed to present a united front for their kids. Same with Kimmy and Maurice. No matter what goes on behind closed doors, you don't see them dragging each other through the court system or neglecting their responsibilities. They have their issues, sure, but they keep it respectful when it comes to family. Martell could learn from that. But instead, he's caught up in trying to one-up Melody, and it's costing him everything. At this point, people are saying Martell is addicted to the drama. He likes the attention that comes from it. Because when there's no drama, he fades into the background. And we all know Martell loves being in the spotlight. So if it's not through business or success, he'll take it through chaos. But here's the thing. Attention isn't respect. Attention fades. Legacy lasts. And right now, his legacy is being stained by his own behavior. And let's not act like we don't see the frustration in Melody's face every time this topic comes up. She's trying to take the high road, but imagine how tiring it must be to keep dealing with the same cycle over and over again. Court dates, missed visits, reports, rumors. It's mentally exhausting. And yet, she still shows up smiling, performing, doing interviews, hosting events, and raising 4 kids. That's strength. That's what grace looks like under pressure. And maybe that's what makes Martell so angry, because even after everything, she still shines.
Fans have also been talking about how this could affect the kids long term. When children grow up seeing one parent constantly stirring chaos while the other is trying to build peace, they start to choose. Not because someone told them to, but because they feel it. They know who makes them feel safe. And that's why the report saying the children requested to see me because of problems with dad hit so hard. Those aren't rumors. Those are cries for help. So when people hear Martell was a no-show for court, it's like confirmation of everything they already suspected. It's not just that he missed it. It's what it represents. It represents neglect, avoidance, and irresponsibility. It represents someone who wants to be seen as the victim instead of owning up to the role they played. Because if you really care about your kids, you show up,
Period. No excuses. And the wild part is that Martell could fix this if he wanted to. He could take the counseling seriously. He could apologize, genuinely, not just for cameras. He could rebuild trust with his kids, one day at a time. But every time he gets the chance, he chooses ego. And you can't heal what you keep defending. Now, let's get into how people in Huntsville and fans online are reacting, because, baby, the reactions have been wild. When the word got out that Martell didn't even show up for court, fans flooded social media. The comments were full of disbelief, frustration, and sadness. People were saying, at this point, just give Melody full custody and let those kids have peace. Others said, we've seen this movie too many times. It's time for a new ending. And honestly, they're right. Because if Martell truly cared about changing his narrative, this would have been the moment to show it. Even some of the Live and Marriage Huntsville cast couldn't hide their feelings. You know Tisha Scott loves to keep her distance from other people's drama, but word is she had a few choice words off camera. Marcel probably told her, let's not get involved, but we all know Tisha's face says it all. She's seen how Martell operates. She's seen the same anger and ego play out on set. Marcel and Maurice have both called him out before, not out of hate, but because they could see how his behavior kept ruining his own progress. Kimmy, being the peacemaker she is, probably just shook her head and said, he's got to want to do better for himself. And that's real, because at some point, no one can fix you but you. And let's be real, Miss Marlene, Martell's mom, has to be tired too. She's always been caught in the middle, trying to help her son while also being there for the grandkids. The reports even mention her name, saying that she's been stepping in when Martell disappears. But that's not fair to her either. She's worked her whole life, and now she's having to play babysitter just because her grown son can't handle his responsibilities. Come on now. That's not how family should work. And it's not lost on fans that Melody has always respected Marlene, even after the divorce. She could have dragged her or cut her off completely, but she didn't. That shows maturity, because at the end of the day, that's still the grandmother of her kids. Now, what's really interesting is how this court mess lines up with the show's schedule. Fans have been speculating that the reunion was filmed around the same time and that
Martell might have been using that as an excuse for missing court. If that's true, it just makes things look even worse, because how are you filming a show about building your life and family while skipping court about your actual kids? It's giving priorities all messed up. The optics are bad, plain and simple. Viewers notice these things, and when the new season airs, you already know the producers are going to bring it up somehow. You can't hide that kind of drama from the cameras forever. And speaking of the show, people are starting to wonder if Martell's future on Love and Marriage Huntsville might be in danger, because let's be honest, there's only so much the audience can take before it stops being entertainment and starts feeling uncomfortable. Every time he tries to rebuild his image, another story like this comes out and it just erases all the progress. It's a cycle. He does something reckless, it hits the blogs, he apologizes, and then he does it again. People are tired. Fans are invested in Melody's healing, not Martell's excuses. And here's the thing. Even Carlos King has hinted before that he wants growth from his cast. He said it on interviews. You can't stay stuck in the same drama every season. And Martell's story hasn't evolved. Melody's moved on. She's thriving, launching new ventures, being a full-time mom, glowing in her peace. Even Marcel and Tisha are expanding their businesses. Maurice and Kimmy are showing how to navigate real marriage challenges with love and transparency. But Martell? He's still stuck in 2019, still fighting the same battles he created himself. And y'all know social media doesn't hold back. People have been saying things like, Martell is the definition of self-sabotage, and he's too focused on proving he's right instead of doing what's right. One fan even wrote, you can't co-parent from the club. Whew, that line hit hard because it's true. Every time Martell's seen out partying or chasing clout while these reports come out, it just reinforces what people already think. You can't post family man quotes on Monday and then skip your kid's needs by Friday. And it's not even about dragging him at this point. It's about accountability. Melody has had to rebuild her entire life from scratch in public while raising 4 kids. She's had to smile through interviews, perform, manage businesses, and protect her peace, all while being attacked online and in court. And still, she handles it with grace. That's strength right there. That's why fans love her, because she's living proof that you can lose everything, start over, and still rise higher than before. But let's not act like this custody battle hasn't taken a toll. You can see it in her eyes sometimes. That exhaustion, that frustration. It's one thing to deal with co-parenting challenges, but it's another to feel like the system keeps protecting someone who refuses to grow up. Every delay, every missed court appearance, every report means more stress, more lawyer fees, more emotional weight. Yet Melody keeps pushing. She keeps smiling. And that's what makes her story so powerful, because she's not just surviving, she's thriving despite it all. Now here's the kicker. Insiders are saying this latest round might finally force the judge's hand, because when one parent consistently fails to follow through, the court eventually steps in. Fans are hoping that this next hearing brings some closure. Melody can finally have full custody and let those kids live in peace without all this back and forth, because as one viewer said, those babies didn't ask for this, and that's the real truth right there. They deserve stability. They deserve love. They deserve peace. And let's not forget, this is all happening while cameras are rolling. So when Love and Marriage Huntsville returns, don't be surprised if some of this drama makes it into the storyline. Because you know how OWN does. They're going to show what the people are already talking about. But what's different this time is the tone. It's no longer just messy reality TV. It's real life, with real consequences. And Martell needs to realize that the more he plays with this situation, the more his reputation fades. Because at some point, people stop laughing and start praying for you to get it together. And honestly, that's where a lot of viewers are right now. They're not laughing at him. They're disappointed. They want to see him grow up. They want to see him actually do the work. Because no matter how messy things have been, he still has a chance to change. But that window is closing fast. And if he doesn't act soon, he's going to lose more than just custody. He's going to lose respect, opportunities, and the connection with his kids that money or fame can ever replace. So here's the bottom line. Martell Holt needs to stop running from responsibility and start facing himself. Melody has already shown what healing and maturity look like. She's focused on love, family, and peace. She's showing her kids what strength looks like in real time. And that's something Martell could learn from. Because at the end of the day, it's not about winning court cases or social media battles. It's about those 4 kids who just want to feel safe, loved, and prioritized. And to everyone watching right now, make sure you stay until the very end because we're going to keep following this story. We're going to talk about how this latest no-show in court might shift everything, from the custody battle to Martell's role on the show to how other cast members are quietly distancing themselves. Because, trust me, Huntsville is talking. And things are about to get even more real. So grab your snacks, stay locked in, and don't go anywhere, because the next chapter of this story might just be the one that changes everything. And before we wrap up, let's just keep it real. Love doesn't look like manipulation, and fatherhood doesn't look like control. It looks like showing up. It looks like being there even when it's hard. Melody's living proof that peace is possible when you let go of what's hurting you. And for Martell, the ball's in his court. But if he doesn't fix this soon, it might just be game over, for real this time. So keep watching till the end because you already know, when it comes to Huntsville, the story's never really over. There's always more tea brewing, more truth coming out, and more lessons to be learned. But for now, let's just pray those kids get the peace they deserve and that Melody continues to shine like the queen she is, while Martell, finally, hopefully, learns what it really means to be a father.